live from the Valpak Studios in St. Pete, Florida. It's Sales Talk Live.
Welcome to Sales Talk Live. Oh, this is the third. Oh my God. Oh, hi. This is our third Sales Talk Live. Thank you. Again, quick reminder and thank you to the Franchise Association Board of Directors. This idea came from one of those meetings, Chuck Hill specifically. We just returned to St. Pete this week from another Board of Directors meetings that were very fruitful. Since the last Sales Talk Live, I've had the chance to visit Minneapolis, Seattle, and Indianapolis. I'm on an Eapolis tour. And one of the fantastic things about visiting Indianapolis was the work and efforts that we've been working on for some time and Plus One. And a highlight, may sound corny, especially to all my rock and roll music friends, having a chance to meet with the Postmaster General and having her approve Plus One was a phenomenal opportunity for our company and got us one step closer to Plus One coming to fruition. I will jump into our agenda, so to speak. We're going to start by talking about what we consider the three core pillars of Valpak, which are distribution, our footprint, which is really best in class, not just in direct mail, but just in media in general. There's not many places that hit 40 million homes a month. Secondly, our brand. Obviously, we have phenomenal brand recognition. 91%, I believe, of all houses in America know who Valpak is. And lastly, Salesforce, the incredible group of sales talent around the network. All right, jumping in. Starting first with distribution. Obviously, one of the things that keeps our distribution as robust as it is winning and continuing to win large clients. So first up, we're going to talk about Fifth Third. Fifth Third is a large account, a bank out of Cincinnati. The core thing that Debbie illustrated during this is the tenacity and the stick-to-itness, if that's a word. It took over 2 years to get into the account, and another year once getting into the account actually to land a deal. So congrats to Debbie for what has turned out to be a phenomenal banking customer, and the stick-to-itness to get to over 2 million households per month with Fifth Third. Congrats again. We're going to hit a couple success stories here. Next, Legoland, which is an account out of Chicagoland. We do have Ken here from Chicagoland, K2, not to be confused with several other Ks in the building in the company. Legoland in Chicago had started to work with us. And Melissa Harris did a fantastic job this year going in and walking through a bunch of core demographic information, walking through a bunch of performance tracking, and now they are doing a 6-month buy, full network, which is over 1 million homes. So fantastic job, and another example of Valpak winning with Legoland. I believe also, if there's a Legoland in your opportunity, you should check it out, because we have Atlanta, Central Ohio, and Philly that have Legoland in their envelope. Moving to a chain named after me, Jersey Mike's. Yeah, they owe me a royalty. They are a 20-year client, but they have had puts and starts on buying locally, buying corporately, etc. And Peggy, through relationships and an ad agent's relationships he's had, has grown that customer this year to shipping all 1,500 stores coverage with over 11 million homes in January and February. So fantastic job, another success story, and another example of Valpak delivering value for a customer. Moving on to Grove. We'll hear a little bit more about this later from John Vukovic and the sales rep Chris Marsh. It's been a brand new customer. And again, phenomenal win, e-commerce company working. They actually have an exciting pitch today. Good luck, John and Chris, on your pitch today, looking for nearly double the coverage. But we'll hear more about that later. And I believe, lastly, as far as success stories, or second to last, I have one impromptu. Coastal Dental, Jen Hill, who you'll also hear from later regarding Plus One, was a call-in lead And through some performance tracking and really using data, Jen now has this up to 12 locations, and it's got a phenomenal potential with over 119 locations. So congrats, Jen Mill, on Coast Dental. And again, we'll hear from Jen Hill. If I said Jen Mill, sorry about that. Hill Mill. Jen Hill, we'll talk a little bit later about +1. So again, one that's not in the script today, we had a fantastic test from a high-end closet home design company who after 1 month came back to Jay and the national team and asked to buy every on-pack envelope for all of 2020. They had a 17-to-1 return on ad spend in Valpak. So again, proving once again, I'm looking over here, I don't know if you've seen these guys, but we have in-audience guests today. But again, proving that Valpak continues to deliver results for our clients. Ongoing distribution, I mentioned it earlier. One of the biggest things that's happened to Valpak in the last several years, certainly in my tenure, is +1. Again, we are essentially a vote and a half away from this being approved. We think it'll be in August in mail. A couple things that makes +1 unique and different to our organization. We obviously have a fantastic history and reputation of selling single panel inserts, but that's in a co-op envelope, which is a little bit different than a limited inventory product. Obviously, this stands alone in the mailbox, so it adds different value. The +1 will be priced more affordably than Solo, so you have something that will have Solo type results, less costly, so that should help ROI. From a category focus, obviously services, dental, it is a higher buy, so it'll take a certain clientele, which you're all experts at. It's completely trackable, and lastly, we will crush this product because of the local sales basis. Some of the other like products out there sell them mostly national, so our incredible local sales staff will make this a success. Moving on quickly to brand. As you've seen from the open rates, we continue to improve our open rate. Slight movement, but 92 to 93, we will take it. And again, this poll is our research team going out with a third party asking people, A, do you get the envelope? And B, if you get the envelope, do you open it? And again, that's 92, 93%, which is incredible. I hear anecdotal stories every day about how Valpak, they've used us for years and it continues to work better. Also an anecdotal attribution to our open rate going up. We just this month, you've seen, one of the things that we believe drives open rate are exciting on-pack offers. We had a phenomenal partnership put together by Jay, Chris, everybody in the national and promotions team. Cost Plus World Market gave away $30,000 of gift cards. Again, very exciting, have to open the envelope to win them. So congrats to the team, again, helping open rate. A couple other things you've seen this year, Disney, Indy, Live Nation, iHeart, and right around the corner is United Way. And hot off the press, we are excited to announce a partnership we have with Paramount Pictures. I believe it's our first partnership with Paramount in support of the new Dora. If you're like me and have kids, Dora brings up nightmares of hearing Dora or swiper no swiping. But anyway, it will be a great event regardless of the trauma that song has caused me playing over and over in the back seat. But anyway, stay tuned for Spark. Stay tuned and look for Spark, announcement of all the great details around Dora, the Explorer promotion. All right, Salesforce, again, the most important and why we're here is to talk about the core of the company, which is the incredible group of sales executives we have out there. What we'll spend the next amount of time on is sales efficiency tools. We continue to try to add ways to make your life easier, make prospecting easier, which obviously hopefully helps you make more money. And we're gonna jump in, first, stay tuned. We are rebranding CRC to CSI. Has a nice little Hollywood CSI vibe to it. Again, we're out there competing with very sophisticated sales organizations. Again, Google Ads and all the .com, all the digital offers are very sophisticated, have complete 100% attribution. So we need to continue to improve our presentations, our go-to-market strategies, and again, see what will now be called CSI, has sales tool, analysis, industry intel, samples, etc. So we are very excited about relaunching that department with some phenomenal tools. And now let's hear from some actual phenomenal reps that are off to a great start to the half year. We're going to start by going to Sandy Badowski in West Cleveland. Sandy is up 77% through June, 18 new clients. And as Len Yapko has told us, she can talk to anybody. She networks 24/7, and all markets would love 5 Sandys. So let's hear from one of you.
Good morning, Valpak. I'm excited to be here and share why I feel my business this year has grown. So I've been with Valpak for 3 years, and 6 months into my career, I started doing a lot of networking. I joined a BNI group and also started to ask people with other nonprofits and volunteer things who they network with. The greatest thing about Valpak is that most of the people that network are trying to grow their business. They're trying to get in front of more people and grow their lead base and grow their funnel of new customers. Well, what does Valpak do? Valpak does the same thing. We give businesses visibility. And so it's a great match to be in front of people who are aggressively trying to grow their business and are willing to attend meetings and introduce themselves to other people and put themselves out there. I have found last year I know I totaled up in 2018, of the accounts I sold, 16 of them came directly from networking. This year I have had 6 new accounts come from networking. Those that do run with me become great advocates for me. I'm not afraid to call them and say, hey, do you have anybody else in your network that you feel Valpak could help or would be a good fit for them? And they've even gone to the length. I have one insurance agent that has gone to the length to mention us at her national conference, that she uses us, and it's a great piece that's bringing in business for her. She has also gone to restaurants, and if they're not in Valpak, because we both live in the same community, she will call the owner over and tell them her success with Valpak and ask them if they would like to meet me and find out how to get into the envelope. So those are great stories. Those are easy ways to get in front of people. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more warm. And I also feel that my closing ratio on meeting someone through networking and talking to them about Valpak is about 80 to 90%. So usually when I go to those meetings, I'm very well prepared. I've done my homework, and I'm able to answer their questions. I never go in ready to sell. I just go in to kind of share with them how it could help them, whether it could help them now or in the future. And a lot of times, if I just continually follow up and put myself in front of those people, they will come back to me and say, okay, I think I'm ready. I wasn't ready when we talked, but I think I'm ready now. And it's been just a great way for me to grow my business and make my job a little more fun.
Now? Yeah. Next, let's hear from Jack Starks from Salt Lake City. Jack through June is up 61% and I believe leading the $25,000 to $49,000 sales rep tier. So let's hear from Jack.
Good morning, Valpak. My name is Jack Starks. I work out of the Salt Lake City office. I honestly don't believe that the hard conversation really is that hard. It's really just what is in their best interest. It's what's in your best interest. When I first started here at Valpak about 4 years ago, I would take contracts that I don't take anymore, and I would let the client dictate, if they only wanted to do a certain amount of zones, they only wanted to do, not a very good offer. Now I've realized that those are the clients that are hard to retain. The expectations aren't set correctly, and they become, frankly, just a pain in the butt. The clients that the way that I go in, I don't negotiate price. I use fact-driven data. One of the best tools that I use on every presentation now is Blueview. I'll pull up clients that are in the same field before I go on the appointment, and so I have it ready there. And if you look on Blueview, it actually tells you what their reach and their frequency is, and obviously it shows you what their offer is. So you're able to kind of pick and choose, preload before you go to the appointment, say these guys have had successful campaigns. They've ran for this long, obviously they've renewed with us, and it's working. The other thing you can use is the Category Confidence Guide. That will tell you clients that have renewed with us as well, how many zones they're doing, how often they're running. So those are two really good tools. So it's really not that hard to have that hard conversation. It's just really the honest conversation. It's what's in their best interest, and your book, your retention will grow. I've seen a lot of reps where their retention, they're churning it and burning clients. They'll stick around a number and they'll bring in new clients, but you can almost tell right away by even looking at the agreements whether it's going to be successful or not, and it has to do with the reach, the frequency, and the offer. And they're probably not having that hard conversation with them. So in reality, it hasn't been a hard conversation. It's just telling them, what people have done in the past, and and why it's worked for them.
And finally, we're going to move on to John. But before we go back to John Vukovic and this incredible story with Grove.com, I want to point out and mention that prospecting and the leads we get from SEM, the leads we get from franchise homepages. We have a giant bank that's mailed the last 3 months in an envelope nearly $200,000 a month that came in from an SEM lead, I believe. And John's lead came in from a franchise homepage. So yes, prospecting is not always a warm, hot lead, but there are oftentimes these whales that do come in. So they all need to be treated with the kid glove and utmost optimism that they are going to be grand slams. So we will hear right now from John Vukovic and this great opportunity that came from and Chris Marsh, who is working with John on this phenomenal win that came in from a franchise homepage. John?
Hi, this is John Vukovic here in Silicon Valley with Chris Marsh, as you can see next to me. You want to say hi, Chris?
Hi, guys.
Hey, so we have close week, so Chris is out in the field closing some deals, and we thought we'd talk to you today about the Grove. The Grove came in approximately September of last year as a Lux lead. We tried for a couple of months to get that set up and went over demographics and data. Chris came on board the next month, and myself and Chris went out and visited the client and talked to him a little bit, and eventually got them to look at the blue envelope. Some of the things that we did to close this deal were data. Being able to provide demographics and different information so they could target those NTAs with the best demographics for their perfect clientele. This went back and forth for months. Chris, when we were doing this data, anything you could add there?
Well, CRC was instrumental in getting us stuff that was built for the women that had families.
Yes.
In the age range that they were looking for, because they were really wanting to cue into the current thought that part of being a good parent is providing a clean, organic, chemical-free type atmosphere. So once we were able to show the areas around the country that had those, we were able to narrow it down even further based on bumping against some of their criteria. That's when they started to get excited about doing a shared mailer.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, category research was amazing. In addition, pricing was something we needed to look at. Obviously, they're looking at that, but they really wanted quality. They have a brand they want to protect, and they felt the OCB 44L was definitely one of the nicest pieces they've seen it in terms of shared mailers. What we went ahead and did was we put together a really nice proposal, put together, I think, a pretty good presentation deck, and we went ahead and sent that off to them and then followed up again and again. And this went on for months. Was it, would you say it's about 5 months we worked on this deal, Chris, to make this happen?
And initially, they agreed to do a CP44.
Yes.
But we got special approval to have an OCB put together in the thicker cardstock. So when we took the CP44 spec to show to her. We also showed her the thicker cardstock.
Exactly.
And talked to her about how that would actually improve visibility.
Yep.
And she got very invested in that. They immediately pumped up another 30,000 after that.
Exactly. And then we thought this order was originally going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 50,000, and then we ended up closing it at 94,500. Since that time, we've gone back and forth on cost per acquisition. They shared that data with us. Now I'm working with some other folks and putting together a larger proposal. They've agreed to mail again with us, which is fantastic. We're looking at the NTAs to look at that data and see what NTAs perform the best. And with that, we're just, I guess the only takeaways on those larger orders are follow-up, consistency, and don't give up. It's always there for you.
Again, John and Chris, good luck today. Hopefully that proposal we put together resonates with them and we win a even bigger national footprint. So great job so far, and hopefully you crush it today. All right, I'm in the studio with 3 guests. We did not do carpool karaoke, but we had probably one of the weirder nights of my life, which sort of distracted any extra filming. There were some filming which caused some of the weirdness, but I think I will have, if you're interested, you should speak with Jody, Mark, and Ken about the evening. I think hearing it live is probably a little bit better than me describing it. Again, formally, Jody Malloy, who is General Manager, reigning Sales Manager of the Year from Central Ohio, is here. Mark O'Clair, who has the pleasure and honor of serving the NTA that my parents live in, that actually don't get an envelope. So Mark was so kind one day to drive over an envelope and stick it in their mailbox. So he's also a carrier and a phenomenal sales rep that's been here a little over a year. And Ken, also known as K2, here from Chicagoland, are here in the studio. They won a contest we had on the last Sales Talk. So thank you for participating and glad you're here. Hopefully you had a couple great days at the office.
Yeah.
Good day?
It was great.
Yeah? Awesome. Any feedback on that? Anybody? I know this
Try
was
to
not
win. It was
scripted,
fun.
but
No.
hey.
It was really interesting just to see the different departments and how they work and the inner workings and how interested everyone is on how they can help make things easier for us too.
Awesome. We say it every time. Not many people call us, but any idea that you have to make us better, faster, stronger, we'd like to hear from you, regardless of the department, whatever it happens to be, pricing, product. You want somebody at corporate to make a call for you, make an email, anything at all that we can do to help you sell, please reach out and let us know what that can be. We're going to start today with Ken. Ken is in a super incredible market from diversity. He has 16 plus reps, giant geography. And one of the things they have done really well in my tenure, probably before, but especially my tenure, is land large accounts, also known as whales. So Ken, with a group of 16 plus sales reps, ranging, I'm guessing, in all kinds of tenure, experience, background, give me an idea of how you hunt whales and prospect the larger accounts.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, whether you've been here for 15 years or 15 minutes, you can close a whale. I do think that people should focus on their local business, but at the same point in time, prospect those bigger whales. And when you do set an appointment for a whale, you know what? Take a whale hunter or whale slayer or your leader with you, because you'll have more success.
I think the analogy Ken and I talked about is almost you're fishing, you're going down your, whatever you call an area that you fish. I'm not much of a fisherman, but you'd have 10 poles on one side fishing local, and you'd have 2 fishing big whales at the same time. So you're concurrently fishing both local, which is vital to the envelope, and 1 or 2 out fishing whales. So can you take that silly analogy I just did and actually turn that into real life?
Sure, Mike. I recommend creating a funnel of 3 to 5 whale prospects. Work with your leader, Google the largest customers in your city. And you know what? Once you work those once or twice a week, send an email, go out, stop by, call them up, see if you can get an appointment. So you're kind of looking at closing a whale maybe 1 per quarter or 4 per year. And be real about your funnel. It's not just something to send to your leader. Really work that and ask whale hunters or ask your leader for help.
Any tools, Ken, that are different about hunting? Any tools that we have in our tool belt different from a local account versus a national or regional whale?
Yeah, absolutely. Start out with launch. Look at Blueview, examine the categories. Don't forget GIS and CRC are willing. In fact, we met with them yesterday,
Awesome.
And they are standing by willing to help. They need more than 15 minutes, I got that. The other thing is when you do set the appointment and you go, ask if you can do PRISM. PRISM is a deep dive into demographics and really can help you land that whale.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I believe PRISM and some of the data aspects that the research team under Benji has, one of the things I think it does right away, even if they don't use it, I think it takes some of the direct mail is old. It immediately shows that we're way more sophisticated in targeting and know the households we're getting to, I think, right away. So very cool. Thanks for the PRISM shout out. I guess one last thing, Ken, is do you want to share any of the whales? Obviously, I mentioned vaguely for confidentiality reasons that there's a giant bank that is in the envelope through Chicagoland, but anything else going on?
Absolutely. We've had a lot of great whale slayings in Chicago, but I just want to mention a 2-year rep, Scoop Simon. So shout out to Scoop. He just recently closed Charter Fitness, $38,700 in contracted revenue. Just closed that recently. Last fall, he closed Early Time Home Solutions for over $62,000 in contracted revenue.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Jeff Poole, been with us several years. He just closed Excel Entertainment. Those are the people that put all the video games in the restaurants. Closed 106 NTAs for $16,000.
Awesome.
And then also one last shout out for Melissa Harris, who has been ongoing with Legoland. So
very cool. Scoop, definitely one of the coolest names in the network.
Yeah.
Shout out Scoop for the name. That's fantastic, Ken. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Again, you and K3 have done a phenomenal job in Chicagoland in my tenure. Thank you. All right, we're going to move to Mark O'Clair, Noonan, Georgia, represent. Mark is, again, been here slightly over a year, has done a phenomenal job landing news. And from what I know, Mark does over 60 calls per day, so phenomenal activity monster. Mark, you want to tell me a little bit about how, I hear 60 calls impossible. I hear it all the time. I can't do that. Can you give me a little insight into how you make that happen?
Yeah, sure. So for me, my running philosophy is the more activity you have, the more appointments you're going to get. And the more appointments you're going to get, the more sales you're going to close. So activity generates revenue. And it's really not rocket science. It's just doing a little bit of pre-planning before you sit down and start making your calls or doing your drives, and coming up with a route or building a call list. So when you hit it, you're prepared and ready.
How do you build the list? There's been a lot of back and forth in my tenure here with Prospect Finder, organic prospecting. We've just rolled out something that we're testing called Addressable Market, which I can't remember off the top of my head of Atlanta. How do you build your list, and have you found any magic in list making and who to call?
Yeah, I think it's just like anything else. You have to take an all of the above strategy. The vast majority of my leads that I put in my Salesforce pipeline are coming from driving around in the field, pulling doors, handing out cards, getting information. So that's where a lot of my list comes from, but it also comes from any other place you can find on the internet to prospect, people I know, networking groups, all sorts of different places.
That's awesome. One of my observations when I'm out visiting offices again, like since this last talk in the last 8 weeks, Indianapolis, and Seattle, is I get a sense that we spend a lot of time on quality leads, and they've got to be warm versus just quantity of leads. Do you have any perspective on that? I'm always debating.
Right.
So we just put more in the funnel, and the more will trickle down and equal net more closes, or the quality. Have you got a batting average or ratio you like?
Yeah, so for me, I really like to focus on top 25 first. I think Valpak has done a lot of research in terms of what are good quality clients for the Valpak envelope. And I think it's definitely a great guidepost to figure out who to prospect and where to start.
Awesome, that's great. I guess wrapping up, any last, either, I guess 2 questions. Is there a tool you use that you'd like to give a shout out to? And also just one last parting word, because 60 calls a day is phenomenal. Any wisdom, one last wisdom on how to do that, and if you're a new rep starting here or even a tenured rep, how to go from making 30 and thinking it's comfortable to 60?
Absolutely, yeah. So as far as the tools go, I really love Launch and Blueview. They're really great tools. Launch is just the dummy-proof way to figure out how to right size a business and where exactly to mail to. So Launch is a great tool. Blueview is always great. I always do screen grabs and drop them into emails when I'm sending them to people. So it's kind of like the digital version of going around with the old envelopes and kind of tagging people's doors with the paper. It's doing the same thing digitally with email. So I really like Blueview for that. And then Prospect Finder, I love that tool because what I can do with it is if I set an appointment somewhere, I can just drop the radius of the address into the Prospect Finder, and then it's going to tell me other businesses in the area. So I can build out my day. When I'm in the field, I can really make the most of it.
Awesome.
In terms of making phone calls, again, it's really just building a list. So usually I'm either focused on a geographic radius or I'm focused on like a vertical that I'm calling from top 25. And if I prepare that list either the end of the day before, or get up early the next morning, I already know how many calls I need to make to get to the number I need to get to.
Awesome. Sounds like you've done a phenomenal job. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're going to move lastly to Jody. One thing for sure, I mentioned that nobody takes us up on calling us to make things better, different. Jody is the outlier. Jody is not afraid to call and say, you did this wrong, you should do this better, faster, stronger, and we truly appreciate it. Jody, Jim, the whole Central Ohio office are very engaged with corporate, and it does make us better, so I do thank you, I appreciate it. It's a little relentless sometimes when you're out, like last night at dinner, trying to have a little bit of non-work, and Jody had her checklist of we got to talk about da-da-da-da. So it is appreciated, and I did take notes. One of the things that Central Ohio, which is led by Jody and her sales leadership, are really best at class in are rolling out our programs, whether they're sales programs or last year they crushed the Susan G. Komen. So why don't you give us a little bit on rolling out initiatives, how maybe Susan G. Komen ties to this year's United Way?
Yeah, so with Susan G. Komen, I always believe that if you're not excited about it, if you're the sales leader not excited about it, the team's not going to be excited about it. So we did a big cold call blitz, decorated the office in pink, all that fun stuff, and then
Cute.
We did it for 3 hours. Every hour we'd stop, and for every donation you collected through your clients, you'd get to put your name in, to be drawn to play a game, to win a prize, just to keep it fun and exciting.
Awesome.
But then also, we also brought in a survivor of breast cancer and had her talk to everyone to kind of give that why we're doing this. And then we took how many clients we had. We said if we got a $25 donation from each client, where would that put us? We had a goal of $5,000 in our office, and then ended up going $7,500, I believe is what we ended up at, with people making bigger donations and things like that. And then we started with the proofing process. So before that mailing comes out, an email that is short and sweet telling them what the cause is and why they would want to donate. and then and after that we do the blitz to follow up with calls.
That's phenomenal. It sounds like a lot of those core traits could be applied to almost any program, meaning setting goals, right? So everybody knows exactly where they need to get, call blitzing, setting organized how you're going to attack it. I guess maybe twofold. Are you going to do some of those similar initiatives for United Way? And then probably the largest program that this company will have in some time is Plus One. So can you give me how you tackled Susan G. Komen and how that would actually relate to A, United Way, and B, Plus One?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, like you said, same thing, besides with Plus One, a little more strategic of who is a good Plus One customer. Do they have the money to spend on
Right.
Plus One, and making that, prospecting list for it. But then same thing, going on, doing a cold call blitz, and then setting those appointments up, making sure you're ready for them, making sure you know the competition, just so that you're going out there with all the right tools to be able to close those deals once you get the appointment and
Yeah.
get in front of them.
One of the interesting things about Plus One is it is a higher monthly ring, and maybe it's weird. What we've heard from Dan and Damon are some of the clients that gave you grief about spending $250 for an NTA were fine with spending $2,500. Like you're like, where did this marketing budget come from?
Right.
So there's obviously the categories like dentists and some of the services that we know spend higher, but I bet there's also going to be some gyms out there that were tight with you on a blue,
Right.
but all of a sudden they have this big budget because they just perceive the value different for, anyway. Are there any tools along with the blitzes and setting goals and the team camaraderie that you find that works in Columbus, Ohio?
Blueview is probably the number
yeah.
one used
Makes
tool in our
sense.
office, like every other office, for prospecting, for being out in the field. I mean, every aspect of it is great. We do a lot with MMA and things like that, especially when you're going in, like with Plus One, I see MMA being really great because you're going in there very sophisticatedly too. You know the audience that we're mailing to. You can tell them why our mailing routes that we're mailing Plus One to are valuable to them
Right.
in a different way than other mailers that they might be doing are.
Right. Is it true that you guys are not going to let Jen Mills sell Plus One?
Absolutely not.
Just kidding, Jen. Jody told me last night she was going to give everybody else a head start. Just kidding.
Not true.
Anything else? I guess I'm going to jump over to Jen Hill in a second, who was part of the test in Plus One. Anything else you want to add on Plus One strategy? You guys, you said you've already had a couple meetings.
Yeah, we've had team meetings talking about it, just learning the product, knowing how to sell the product. We're kind of waiting for that, here's the green flag, to be able to put things in writing and start setting up those appointments. But we're trying to get our ducks in a line so that when that flag is waved, we're ready to go.
The freak flag, or the green flag, or the indie flag, or the finish flag. Jody, like everything Jody does is super competitive, and she always wants to win, which is why she's here. She probably spent a week planning, plotting on how she'd win. And in true fashion, she one-upped Phil today. Phil, if you remember on the first sales talk, had 2 watches. I believe I see 3. I see a finger watch, a watch, yeah. So we've got a new level set on knowing what time it is. I'm not sure they work. It looks like they're all different times, but Phil, your mark has been beat. She's got 3. All right, as I said, we are going to move. Thank you, Jody. Thanks a lot for everything. We're going to move to, we tested Plus One in Virginia and Tampa, and Jen Hill was one of the sales executives, part of the Tampa launch. So let's hear a little bit from Jen Hill and her experience in Tampa.
Hey Valpak, it's Jen Hill in Tampa. I'm here to talk to you about Plus One postcards. Tampa Bay was one of the test markets last summer, and it was very successful. I contacted my existing clients as well as clients that said, oh, I don't think Valpak is for us, and clients that hadn't mailed in a while. And then of course I made the phone calls for all the postcards that were coming in the mail already, because those people were already spending money on postcards, and so it seemed to make sense to offer them a more price effective option. The types of clients that I ended up mailing to was all over the place. I think the sky's the limit as far as category. Shell Seafood, a sedation dentist, plumber, bowling alley, dry cleaner, Cold Stone Creamery. I had 2 different owners be excited about that. Liquor store and a local dinner cruise line. And how I went in there and, part of my pitch was just, hey, this is a solo mailing and, it's something different, and obviously told them that they, 8.5 by 5 on 100-pound coated. The price is about half of what you're gonna pay for postcards just about anywhere, and kind of create the urgency with first come, first serve. Because once the zones are spoken for, the neighbor up the street or the business up the street is not going to be able to reserve those zones for that month. The last thing that helped out a lot, we have a local competitor that has a similar product around the same price, but it's inserted into something. So I made sure to tell them that it's not attached to anything or inserted into anything, and that created some excitement. The results were, everybody loved it. After the test, people just kept calling me for months, asking me, is it rolled out yet? Is it rolled out yet? So, and I know we're almost there, and I'm really excited about it. Another thing that's absolutely awesome is my revenue increased substantially during, the months when I sold the Plus One, because it's a kind of a higher dollar product, and that's never bad. So that's it. Good luck.
All right, next section here, we're gonna talk about some new tools. This one is not necessarily brand new, but it's a refresher. The MDC tool to create a spec ad. It's one of the things I observed. I think humans are very aesthetically driven, visually driven. So one of the things I noticed on some of the sales calls that I went on, being out in local markets, we didn't always do a mock ad. And I think if I were out selling, I think I would tend to have a mock ad with their name on it. I think people are generally not great, especially guys, at trying to visualize, this is what your ad would look like if it has somebody else's name on it. I think it gets I don't understand. My company is called O'Doul's, and this says Shawnee. I don't get it. So anyway, I think customizing ads to take them out is a vital part of selling. It helps people really visualize their ad. So just a quick reminder, and something that we will continue to look at and work on and improve, is the ability to make custom ads. So here's a quick video and reminder on MDC ad creating.
Did you know you can quickly create a personalized mock-up or sample ad for a prospect directly in My Design Center that'll represent their business logo, business name, and information? In My Design Center, simply click Valpak Blue Envelope. Click Choose Layout and select Template. Search for templates by keyword, choosing category specific. In this example, we're going to search for the seafood category. The library of templates will be displayed. Once the sample library displays, choose a sample ad that'll suit your prospect's business. Once you've found a suitable sample, click Select to pull that sample in. Once the sample's loaded, click on Change Content and choose Change Text Images. Over on the right, you'll have an opportunity to upload your prospect's logo. I'm going to be using a local seafood restaurant as an example. In most cases, you can right-click on the logo and click Save Image As and save the image to your desktop. With a copy of the prospect's logo already uploaded to your desktop, click on Browse. Choose the logo from your desktop and select yourself as the sales rep. Click Upload. Once the image uploads and displays on the ad, you'll have an opportunity to make additional changes in the file. Now you can see our logo's been uploaded, but it's being overwritten by content already in the business name field. So we can remove that content simply by highlighting it in the business name box and clicking Delete. Now we can click on Redraw Preview to see what it looks like without that copy. You also have an opportunity to update the headline, street address and city, phone number, business hours, additional copy, and offer content. Once everything's been updated to suit your client, click Done. You now have an opportunity to preview PDF in Adobe Acrobat or to save to My Design Center, so you can refer back to it after you've closed the sale to make minor adjustments and submit through VP Office. Keep an eye out for a more detailed tutorial coming soon. Hope this has been helpful. Have a great day. Happy selling.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for the MDC video. We just launched what we believe is a fantastic new tool. It is a auto email proof system. It was tested by the 4 sales executives that were here on the last sales talk. And again, it is all you have to do is go in and opt in, but it'll automatically send your clients proofs when they are ready, taking out a very laborious step that used to be done by the sales executives. One of the things we heard, Anne-Marie from Boston, as I mentioned, who was here, I absolutely love it. It saves me so much time. Thank you for including me in the pilot. Also Stella, who you see up here as well. The program is great. It allowed me more of a flow during the chaotic moments during deadline week. And finally, the architect or person that inspired this was Holly McAtee. It was her brainchild. Again, she was one like Jody who is pretty consistent with reaching out and offering ideas on ways to make the company more efficient and better. So here's a quick little clip from Holly on this new tool.
Hey Valpackians, it's Holly McAtee. Just wanted to tell you about a great new thing that we have in Valpak. It's the auto emails. And basically with this, your clients would get an auto email with their proof. You know, when I started at Valpak 10 years ago, I thought it was really strange that we would get a link to go retrieve the proof, and then we would have to download it, then attach it to an email and send it. So it just seemed like so many extra steps. So I spoke to Chris Cate and his team about coming up with a way that the reps could get an auto email for this. And they started this pilot. I've been doing it for a couple months now, and it is such a time saver. I'll wake up in the morning and I have emails from clients that are telling me their ad changes or telling me that their ad's approved, that they've gotten their proof in the middle of the night and they've already responded at like 5 or 6 a.m. So, you know, if I was sending that out myself, they probably wouldn't get it till 9:30. With a lot of home improvement, they've already like left the office at 7 a.m. So, huge time saver and just a great way to be modern. A lot of our competitors do something like this too. So I really like this pilot. Thanks, bye.
Thank you, Holly, for reaching out originally. Thank you, Chris Cate and your department for developing it. It's a phenomenal efficiency tool. So thank you again for reaching out and helping the company. You're also obviously a phenomenal sales executive. So thank you, Holly. All you have to do, I believe, is opt in. I think it's on Inside Valpak, so please go opt in if you're interested and enjoy the new tool. And I think there's also going to be a tutorial on Spark, so keep an eye on Spark. Lastly, something else, listening to people being out and about. One of the things that I heard, I can't remember if it was Kathy Darnell's office in Seattle, it's probably been several offices, is how cumbersome it is to simply put a contact in Salesforce. Let's say you got a business card, you actually saw an email on the side of a billboard, a truck. So Mandy and the Salesforce team and developers have worked on a email quick form entry. I think before this form, which you can now see, I think there was like 8, 10, 12 fields you had to fill out just to simply get an email in there. So now it is, I think, email, your name, and one other thing. So it's an easy way to start putting email prospects in and start, obviously, engaged campaigns, drip campaigns, etc. So we believe this is another efficiency tool. I think, again, pointing at Jody, Jen Mills has done this and worked email campaigns for her career and has been phenomenal at it. I'm sure a lot of others have. It's just something specific top of mind. So we just made that a lot easier for you. So again, another efficiency tool, please find it, look for tutorials. We'll continue to announce where to find it, how to find it, etc. And we're going to take that transition. Those are 3 brand new efficiency sales tools. Hopefully you find them as helpful, and if there's anything in those that we can tweak or they spark another idea, please let us know. And now we're going to jump to people that do a great job with efficiency because they are sales leaders. So right now we are going to go to sales contest winners. We've given out over $30,000 year to date in prizes. Very quick level before we jump to a video. We have 54 markets that are up year to date and 174 reps that are up year over year. So kudos and shout outs to the 54 markets and the 174 reps. Now let's roll the tape on the top performers and a little bit of more detail on Pump Up the Volume in the sales contest.
Year-to-date, year-over-year revenue growth by markets. The markets with the largest growth are Macro, Valpak of Central Ohio; Large, Valpak of Cincinnati-Dayton; Medium, Valpak of Orange County; Small, Valpak of Plymouth; Micro, Valpak of Northeast Ohio. Year-to-date, year-over-year reps by revenue tier. 90 plus, Anne Marie Giordano, Valpak of Boston. 50 to 89,000, Brian Levine, Valpak of Southeast Michigan. 25,000 to 49,000, Jack Starks, Valpak of Salt Lake City. 1,000 to 24,000, Sandra Fegan, Valpak of the Grand Strand. Rookie tier, Timothy Kiley, Valpak of Los Angeles. Reps with year-to-date, year-over-year client count growth by revenue tier. 90,000 plus, Brian Brewster, Southeast Michigan. 50 to 89,000, Mike Starbuck, Valpak of Central Ohio. 25,000 to 49,000, Amy Cutler, Valpak of Bay Area. 1,000 to 24,000, Dwayne Huntsinger, Valpak of the Emerald Coast. Rookie tier, Linda Witolski, Valpak of Southeast Michigan. Reps with year-to-date, year-over-year new unit growth. 90,000 plus, Jennifer Mills, Valpak of Central Ohio. 50,000 to 89,000, Susan Fiddler, Valpak of Chicagoland. 25,000 to 49,000, Raymond Camp, Valpak of Northwestern Ohio. 1,000 to 24,000, Joanne Padilla, Valpak of Orange County. Rookie Tier 1, Stella Raleigh, Valpak of Los Angeles. Rookie Tier 2, Jacqueline Marshall, Valpak of Jersey Coast. And don't forget, we've got 3 months left in the Pump Up the Volume sales contest. September is your last chance to win monthly prizes based on revenue growth, client count growth, and new client units. Then, for the top achievers in the 9-month contest period, we'll award the top rep in each revenue tier and ranker $1,000. As previously announced, at the end of the contest, we'll be awarding over $34,000 in prizes, including one grand prize of $10,000.
All right, as we wrap this up, we're going to hear from Brian Levine, obviously a longtime Valpak sales rep. He's having a really top-notch year. He's 35% up. It's local, it's outbound. He's just doing a really terrific job in all categories and all KPIs. One of those KPIs that he does as well as anybody is retention. Brian is just under 80% retention and growing 35%. So let's hear a little bit from Brian and the focus on attention.
Hi, I'm Brian Levine from Valpak of Southeast Michigan. For those who don't know me, I've been a Valpak rep for 38 years, and I want to give you a few tips on how you can maintain client retention. I'm going to use my beautiful daughter Danielle, which we will meet a little bit later, to help me out.
So for my first question, can you tell us what you mean that relationships can save client retention?
Very simple. When you get inside their inner circle and you become a consultant, they trust you. And it's very hard for them to leave you if they believe in you. Because if you don't get in that inner circle, you basically are only an advertising vehicle that is based on and judged on return on investment.
What do you mean by honesty retains client?
Very simple. You get one first impression, and the client gets one first impression with the consumer. So it's got to be a good one. And when you show them that you care about them, then they'll believe in you. So if a client wants to run an offer that you know that's not effective, you got to fight for the right offer. But besides fighting for it, you got to make sure that you're prepared and that you bring the correct, proven offer that's worked with Valpak.
Finally, how does Business Booster help increase client retention?
Very simple again, Danielle. A client sometimes needs to be kind of pushed a little bit. And what I mean by that is simply they need to be right sized. And sometimes they don't have the budget that you know they need to be right sized. So sometimes if you discount a little bit to increase their buy, they will get the return and they will become a long-term client. Sometimes you need to take a little less in a short term to gain a long-term client. Build a relationship with that client, whether it be a new client or an old client. Be honest right off the bat. Remember, you only get one first impression. Make it a good one. And when you need the right size, Business Builder. One of the best things Valpak's ever done.
All right, Brian, the sign said booster, you said builder. I'm assuming you crushed both of them. But anyway, thank you, Brian. Again, congrats on a phenomenal year. We are going to wrap things up here. There were 2 sales executives that could not make this trip because of other commitments. We have Kathy Burr in Vegas and KJ in Los Angeles. So both of those 2 will be here for the next sales talk, but we need 2 more. So we are going to have this sales talks contest will be the first 2 people to create an ad in MDC for Dairy Queen. There it is. And send it to the one and only Nancy Cook. Will be coming out to St. Pete to hang out with all of us and make memories. So rush MDC, add Dairy Queen, and get it to Nancy. Before we jump, I want to say again, thank you to the Franchise Association Board, which was the genesis for this talk. Hopefully everybody loves the talk. Continue to send feedback on the sales talk and what you'd like to see, etc., and we will deliver that. And thank you to David, Tanya, Lisa, Nancy, Travis, all the people that you can't see behind the scenes for all the work you do to put this together. Thank you and have an awesome week.